Yo, what's good people, it's JayCactus, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make an 808 from scratch. This one's actually by request because a lot of people in the comments were asking me to do sound design tutorials. So I'm going to start with this one because an 808 is probably the easiest sound to make, and if you like the video let me know in the comments and I'll definitely do more. So let's get into it. Alright, so just to give you an idea of the kind of 808s that we're going to make, I'm currently working on a new drum kit, and this kit's going to be like twice as big as the last one. So there's going to be like 20 kicks, 20 808s, a bag of drums, a lot of effects, crashes, transitions, everything that I usually use in my own beats. So these are all 808s that I've designed from scratch, some of them using stock plugins, which I'm going to show you how to do today, and then the others some third-party plugins, but you don't really need them. You can get a lot done with just stock plugins. So whenever I'm designing sounds, I'll start off by making a beat, or I'll open an old project, just because when you're designing them, sometimes they sound good by themselves, and then when you use them in a beat, they don't really sound good at all. So this is the beat that I'm working on. It's a loop that I got from my guy Westy. I've just chopped it up and used some effects just to get it sounding a bit Right, so it's got a nice bounce to it. I like the 808 that I'm using in this track. I'll probably keep that, but when I'm designing them, I just want to try them in other beats, so I can easily just swap that 808 for the one that I've designed, and if it sounds good in this beat, then I can save it for the pack. So just because we're going to stick to stock plugins, we're going to work in Citrus, the 808. So when you open Citrus, the first thing that you want to do is come up here and go to default. So if you don't really know much about sound design and how synths work, I'm going to try to keep it real simple for you. So don't get confused by looking at everything because we're not going to be using much. So the first thing that we're going to do after you've set this to default is come to operator 1. And in operator 1, we're going to start with a basic sine wave, which is this shape. So it's already in the default mode, so you don't have to change everything. So if I press a key, it's literally just one tone. So an oscillator is basically like a repeated waveform. So this little sine wave, this is just repeating constantly to give you this tone. I'll show you what it looks like with an EQ. See, there's mainly just one tone. I'll come down here. We obviously want to work quite low if we're making it 808. So the first thing that I'm going to do is come to main and bring this pitch all the way down just so I don't have to stretch far down, or change the octave on my keyboard. And now I've got a real low subtone. And then we're going to go back to the operator. And the second thing that you want to do is focus on this envelope here. So this is the volume envelope, and this is going to give you the shape of the sound. So if I open that other 808 that I was using, the sound looks like this. So it's quite flat, and then it kind of dips out. So we want to really recreate that shape with this. So you can do it by using these dials, or you can just grab the points and drag these. So the attack is how quick it's going to take for the sound to reach its maximum volume. So if you were creating like a kick or an 808, you want the attack to be real fast. Because if it was stretched out, you can hear that it takes a while for the volume to pick up. But if it's all the way back, you get this little clicking noise, which you don't really need. So I'm just going to drag this out a little bit, because that's also going to save room for your kicks as well. And then here I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And then this end bit is the release. So if I've got no release, the sound's going to stop as soon as I let go. Which is fine when you're making beats and you want that 808 to stop. But when I'm designing the sounds, it's good just to have a bit of release, because you don't know how the next person's going to want to use that sound. So about there is fine. And then if you want, you can change the shape. So instead of having a basic sine wave, you can move this dial up, and this is going to change the shape of it. You could have like a saw wave. You can also use these dials just to change the shape further. And you can see if I pull up an EQ, this is changing the whole tone. And you're getting upper harmonics, which is basically multiples of the first one. So that's quite a nice tone, but I'm going to keep this real simple and just bring it back to a sine wave, because we're going to start applying our own effects. So I have this linked to a mixer channel. I've got it linked to 12. And the first thing that I'm going to do is pull up a VST. This is a free VST, so make sure you've got this if you haven't got it already. I'm sorry it's so small as well, it's just because I'm using a 4K monitor and some plugins don't let you stretch them. So Camel Crusher has some good presets, which you can flick through here. And this is adding distortion to this. So distortion again is adding upper harmonics, which you can see in the EQ. So if I take Camel Crusher off, it's just like one tone. But if I add it back on, it creates upper harmonics. And that's what's going to help the sound cut through phones, cut through laptop speakers, and just get that nice kind of like drill buzz. But obviously that's quite a lot of distortion, so you want to play with the settings. So you can adjust this, which is the amount of distortion. The filter is going to cut out some of that high information, and then you have a compressor on there as well, and master volume. But what I like to do is find a nice setting that I like. And then I use the EQ to take out some of the high information. And then I could even boost some lows. So that's quite a nice sound there, but there's a few more plugins that you can use within FL as well. So let's just have a look at some of these. So Fruity Fast Distortion is one. I'm going to keep that EQ on because I don't want all that high information. Again, you can even play with some of the presets, like this one's quite nice. The mix level is basically the same as this. You're just changing the amount of effects that you want on. The threshold is like how much of the sound you want to affect. So if it's all the way up, you're affecting everything. If it's all the way down, you're not really getting the effect. So play with the threshold. Pre and post is just the volume before and after the effect. Another one you can use is Fruity Blood Overdrive, and you can bring the preamp up. So kind of like this. Change the color too. But there's nice. And then another one that you can use is Fruity Wave Shaper. So in Wave Shaper, you can either go through some of the presets, but I like to just get this middle point and literally just drag it up. Just start to get a nice bit of distortion. So I'm liking the sound of Blood Overdrive, so I'm just going to add a soft clipper just to make sure that it's not clipping. And then I'm going to open Edison underneath just by pressing Shift and E, and I'm going to record a note in. So you want to come up here, set this to on input, click the record button, and then just press a note. So usually I'll go with C because it just makes it easier for everyone once they're using your kit. So you can hold it for as long as you want. So one of them should be good, maybe this one. I'm going to set this to snap to zero crossing, and that's going to help you grab a point where there's a node, which is basically the dots on the line, because you don't want a delay at the beginning. So about there. Now you can use this tool to bring it back in here. It's quite a loud distorted 808. It's got a different tone to the original one that we used. That was the original. And that's the new one. But again, I wasn't trying to copy the old one. I was just trying to create something similar for the pack. So now we can see how this sounds in the beat. So at this point, we can come back to the envelope and we can change everything apart from hold. And this is going to make the notes play only for as long as the note is in the piano roll. So let's just see how this sounds with the beat. So instantly, I'm not really feeling the sound in a beat. It sounded all right by itself, but I think there's a bit too much distortion on it. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to go back to the sound and just reduce some of the distortion. So I'm just going to reduce the mix level of Blood Overdrive. So now we'll see how this sounds. So I definitely prefer this version to the last one that I just saved, so I'm going to go ahead and save this one in my pack. So all that you need to do is open it up, right click here, click Save As, and then just save it in your pack folder. And then at this stage, when you're designing different 808s, you just need to get creative with it and try different things. So try changing the shape, adjusting some of the dials, and then try different effects too. So another free distortion plugin is one called Temper, and in Temper you can adjust the drive, the amount of saturation that you want. The cutoff is the filter again to remove some of the high energy. So you just want to try different distortion plugins, different saturation plugins, play with the EQ and the shape of the 808 as well. Another plugin that I'll show you is Sausage Fattener. Everyone really knows about this, but all you do is bring the fatness up, decide how much you want. Same with the color. And then again, you can play with an EQ on top of this. And you can get some nice tones with that. So I hope you liked the video and I hope you took some gems from it. This one was a little bit different to my usual videos, but it was by request. So if you liked it, then let me know in the comments and I will do more sound design tutorials on kicks, snares, claps and everything else that you need to create your own drum kit. Just so you can create your own sounds and you don't have to go out and steal other producers and recycle sounds because no one wants to buy them kits. So thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.